and welcome to another episode with the hour markers. Has India really shaped the global watch industry? Here's what watch collector Amol Nayak has to say.
First few watches were always Swiss as a collector, not as someone who was given a watch by parent, grandparent. Those were always HMT, Alwyn, Casio. About 25 years ago, one of the first watches was a Speedmaster, which is still there in the collection. So I started gradually trying to look at watchmaking in India. What really is Indian, because everybody was wearing a West End and everybody was wearing a Favre Luba, and you asked anybody, hey, I got a Favre Luba in my wedding in 70, or I got a West End when I got married. So there were two brands which were the gatekeepers in India at that time. One was Favre Luba and the other was West End. Okay, so Favre Luba really cut its teeth in India. Means West End was, from the documentation I have, I think was a brand which was purposefully made for India and the Middle East market. Like they came into 19th century, late 19th century with the intent of establishing themselves here. You rarely find West End pieces, outside this zone. But you have to understand that the quality of West End watches, they're all Swiss made, is up there with any watchmaker. If you see the cases, okay, so all the West End watches, the cases are Taubert and Phil's design, which is again a Patek, Philippe manufacturer, right? So these are all patented Taubert cases. You can't make this decagonal case without license. Look at the dial of this watch. Okay, they had one of the best bracelets. So. And these were very popular in India. There is ample supply of these in India, which makes me feel that Indians were buying quality watches, and the volumes were there for the Swiss to keep, supplying watches. So what happened in the early part was these two brands dominated. So West End was, holding, they would, dominate a particular segment of the market, same as Favre Luba. And I think somewhere these two were competing, because when we study advertising from 1910-12, they're both there. Okay, they're there in the 20s, they're there in the 30s, they're there in the 40s, they're there in the 50s. Favre Luba was another brand which is, another very powerful brand globally also.
And making a strong comeback now.
It is making a strong comeback. I think now, it's in Indian hands, ironically, twice over now. But I think now with their new owners, I think they're geared to dominate India if they're at the right price point. There's lots of mysteries, and the Indian market really tells you the story of the international watch story, because what was happening, corporate happenings globally, were immediately brought to in India in that area, because it's a big market, you couldn't ignore it.
Definitely.
And people found ways to get around that market. So, when in socialism, when people banned, they said you can't sell, you have to transfer technology to us, or else you can't sell that product here, right? So brands like Bifora, which is a German brand, right? So this is a Bifora, probably made in Germany, but they put a sticker and got away with it saying Bifora India. This is absolutely like sealed, ladies, Bifora. So these are little nuggets, and then there's a lot of correspondence. So this is a correspondence from Girard Perregaux. So some customer has written to Girard Perregaux in Switzerland, and they've guided him to a local dealer along with catalogs. They sent catalogs and everything. So the brands were not ignoring Indian customers. It was a big market.
Definitely.
Right? And the amount of Girard Perregaux was, I have my collection, which, I believe this must have been a very popular brand in India, which today, is not represented very well here. We got our first new Girard Perregaux, my father bought in 72, a solid gold gyromatic, but it had to come from Singapore. It was not available in India, nor was any other brand. So basically the India story is getting stronger and stronger. So you'll see the Swiss brands, Longines, You will see Favre-Luba. You'll see Favre-Luba's catering to, the Indian Defense Services. So they'll have Defense Services written on the tile. You have Favre-Luba Eternas, which I'm not carrying, which, Favre-Luba Zenith. So Favre-Luba was representing so many.
Yeah.
So it was like a dealer more than a manufacturer. They just stamped Favre-Luba and Eterna, Favre-Luba and Zenith. And you had to allow it because otherwise you wouldn't get a piece of the Indian market. Right? So that shows you the power of Favre-Luba.
Yeah. I think when you talk about India history, one brand that you cannot miss is Titan. We know that you have a very special watch in your collection. Can you shed some light on that story?
So the first Titan I got was